The book of Genesis is the first book of the Bible and tells the story of how everything began. It opens with God creating the heavens and the earth, bringing light out of darkness, forming the land and seas, filling the world with plants, animals, and finally creating human beings, Adam and Eve, in his own image. God places them in the Garden of Eden to live in peace and fellowship with him, but they disobey his command by eating from the forbidden tree. This act introduces sin, shame, suffering, and death into the world, and humanity is separated from God. As people multiply, sin also increases. The first murder happens when Cain kills his brother Abel. Wickedness spreads so deeply that God sends a great flood to cleanse the earth, but he saves a righteous man, Noah, and his family by instructing him to build an ark. After the flood, God makes a covenant with Noah, promising never again to destroy the whole earth with water, and he sets the rainbow as a sign of this promise. Later, humanity tries to build the Tower of Babel to make a name for themselves, but God confuses their language and scatters them across the earth. Then God chooses one man, Abraham, and promises to make him the father of a great nation. Even though Abraham and his wife Sarah are old and childless, God gives them a son, Isaac, showing that his promises do not depend on human strength, but on divine power. The promise continues through Isaac's son Jacob, who later becomes Israel and has 12 sons. One of these sons, Joseph, is sold into slavery by his jealous brothers and suffers greatly. However, God is with Joseph, and he rises from being a prisoner to becoming a ruler in Egypt. Through Joseph, God saves many people from famine, including his own family. Genesis ends with Jacob's family settling in Egypt, setting the stage for the story of Israel's growth and eventual deliverance. Overall, the book of Genesis is the first book of the Bible and the foundation of all Scripture. It tells us not only how the world began, but also why the world is the way it is. Genesis opens with God creating the heavens and the earth. Out of nothing, God speaks and life appears, light out of darkness, order out of chaos. When God creates human beings, Adam and Eve, he makes them in his own image, meaning we were created for purpose, relationship, and dominion, not for emptiness or confusion. But humanity falls. Adam and Eve disobey God, and sin enters the world. From that moment, pain, shame, fear, and death become part of human experience. Yet even in judgment, God shows mercy. He clothes them, protects them, and gives hope of redemption. This teaches us that God does not abandon us when we fall. He pursues us. As generations pass, sin grows. Cain kills Abel. Wickedness fills the earth. God sends the flood, but saves Noah. The ark becomes a symbol of salvation, judgment for the world, but refuge for those who trust God. The message is clear: obedience brings preservation, and faith is always rewarded. At the Tower of Babel, people try to build without God, seeking their own glory. God scatters them, reminding us that anything built without him will eventually fall. Then God shifts from dealing with the whole world to calling one man, Abraham. He promises to bless him and make him a great nation. Abraham is old, childless, and weak, yet God uses him. This shows us that God's promises are not based on our ability, but on his faithfulness. The promise continues through Isaac and Jacob, Israel. Jacob's family is full of flaws, jealousy, and broken relationships, yet God still works through them. Joseph's story stands out: betrayed by his brothers, sold as a slave, imprisoned for something he didn't do. But God turns his suffering into promotion. What was meant for evil, God uses for good. Joseph rises to become a ruler in Egypt and saves many lives, including the very brothers who hurt him. Genesis ends with a powerful truth: God is in control of history. He creates, he judges, he forgives, and he restores. The book preaches one main message: God is faithful even when people are not. He turns chaos into purpose, pain into destiny, and broken people into carriers of his promise. If God could use Adam, Noah, Abraham, Jacob, and Joseph, then he can surely use you.